Okay. Let's start at the very beginning. Wow, I am really not a good singer. If
Please
only
join
we
my
had
choir.
someone I am not going to be in your choirs.
I'm not a good singer.
Yeah, you're not either. Okay. So we're going to talk about Marvel Phase 4, but before we talk about Phase 4, we're going to talk about phases 1 through 3 very quickly. Phase 1, the beginning, starting with, I guess, was Hulk the
Iron
first
Man
one?
started it all.
Iron Man started it
Well,
all.
Hulk, the original Hulk.
The original
Yeah.
Hulk. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so
You never saw it, Andrew.
Phase. I didn't.
What?
That's the one I didn't see. Hulk is the one
I
I
love
didn't.
it.
Yeah, I didn't.
I like the Incredible Hulk, like the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk. I like
Yeah.
it. I think it's a solid movie. Iron Man started
It's
the MCU.
Yeah. Okay. So the MCU were introduced to everybody, the main people, blah blah blah. It ends. Phase 1 ends with Avengers, which at the time was like, oh my god, this is really cool. A
The
superhero
greatest
team up
crossover
movie.
of all time.
Greatest crossover of all time.
I was
Yeah.
so
Oh my
hooked.
god.
So
it was
hooked. Yeah.
it was so good.
Yeah.
Then we go to Phase 2, and that ends with Age of Ultron, and also we start to talk about Infinity Stones and all that stuff. Then we go to Phase 3, which brings everything together in Infinity War and Endgame. And boom.
I think Phase 2 actually ended in the second Ant-Man movie.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, because in the end credit scene of the second Ant-Man movie, that's when Ant-Man gets lost in the quantum realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Phase 3, we are done. Now we go to Phase 4. And what do you do when the question was, what are they going to do when you basically everything was almost tied up in a neat little bow and it's over. Okay, thank you. Good night. What do we do now? Well, what they did.
The Avengers have assembled. What do we do?
Yeah. The Avengers have assembled. They saved the day. They saved the universe. Okay, now what? And we've learned that Phase 4 is over. Now, when we were talking about this, we would show timelines, but the timelines would be incorrect. That's because they had to move everything around because of the pandemic and other reasons. So things that were supposed to happen didn't, and things happened out of order. And so maybe that also contributed to the hodgepodge. It seems overall there was just a hodgepodge of just stuff thrown together, and we'll call it Phase 4.
Their timeline is now technically correct. So if you look at what's taking place in the present Marvel universe, it's taking place in 2023.
Oh yeah.
So they corrected it somehow.
So we're actually in the present with
again.
I don't think so. But
as you said, it depends on what you're watching. So
okay. So this is it's at first when we were going to talk about this, I thought, wow, that sucked. This whole phase just sucked, and it didn't really, but it didn't have that like it didn't seem to have a theme, but I think it did have a theme. We're starting all over again. Phase 1 introduced all the characters.
Exactly.
That's what Phase 4 is doing. Phase 4 is introducing the characters for Phase 4, 5, and 6.
Phase 4 is Phase 1 Part 2.
Basically, yeah. It's the first phase of the next group of phases. What's a group of phases called? I don't know.
Fozzie?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know. Fozzie. So, and here's what I've seen as a theme, the central theme that guides the characters in Phase 4, and that is the quest for identity. Every hero in almost every character had to wrestle with, who am I? What do I want to be? Am I bound to continue the choices I've made so far in my story, or can I change my path?
So the one thing that I've seen as a continuing like piece throughout the phases. So we started with Iron Man. Iron Man was the character that carried us through like everything in all the phases. Then he died. Spider-Man is going to be the new Iron Man. He's going to be the one trying to find his identity, trying to figure out who he is. That's what I think these next couple of phases are going to be. And he's going to be the one he's going to be the central string that carries them through.
Okay, I see it differently. I don't see it about personal identity so much as the idea of a linear story. Like the first 3 phases were very linear. It's like this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. And then you like get this multiverse going off in 9 million directions. But to me, it's
so you're seeing more self-contained.
No, I'm just seeing it as more, unless this is what you mean. People aren't always linear. Life gets complicated. And it's interesting to me that this happened during the pandemic, that this phase came about, because things in life were crazy and things got mixed up in crazy. And now here we are with a crazy version of old characters, but now with new characters too. Like, I feel like it's very timely for the way things have been in life. I don't know if they meant it that way. Probably not, because it was planned long before the pandemic. But you know, life is complicated. Here's linear and here's complicated. And now we're branching out into complicated. So I don't see it so much as a reintroduction, or, you know, you could look at the Star Wars trilogy as 3 different trilogies, or you could look at it as one big saga. I look at this more as one big saga wherever it goes.
Okay.
That's a great point. Because we face a world where everything is not black and white.
Right.
You know, in real life, you know, we spent all our time, the Russians are the enemy, and then things got complicated. In the MCU, they spent their entire, we all knew who the enemy was. You know, it was we got to defeat Thanos. And
but
you
then
know,
it was Hydra and
right. We knew who the enemy was, and it was black and white, and there are good guys and bad guys, and boom. Now things are just so complicated.
And that's the way life is. Yeah.
And that's the way life is. And that's you better believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point. So let's start with the first. And the other thing about Phase 4 is the introduction of the TV series. We didn't just have movies. Phases 1 through 3 were just all movies. Phase 4 introduced a TV series, which was basically a 6, 7, 8 hour movie, which for the most part I loved.
It's funny. I thought I would hate that. I know that we talked about this early on. I thought I would hate the whole TV series thing, but I love how they've done it. They've done a really brilliant job with it. So I like it.
Yeah, I honestly, all of the TV series have been hits for me. I know there's some you guys haven't been fans of, but
yeah.
So in the middle of the pandemic, January 15th, 2021, there is a series, WandaVision.
Love it.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about it, and all you heard about it was they're doing different TV shows. They're gonna do an ode to the 50s and the 60s. Like, okay, whatever, you know.
And then Kat Dennings shows up, so
and then
made everything better.
I watched the first episode, and it was the you know, the 50s episode, and it's in black and white, and there's Wanda, and there's Vision, and there's doing some what's that? It was a Dick Van Dyke show, basically. Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, that was Dick Van Dyke.
And I'm thinking, what's this crap? I'm screw this. I'm not watching anymore. I don't know what the heck they're doing. Screw this. And I messaged a friend and said, screw this. Or like, no, stick around, stick through. There's stuff going to happen. Trust me. And thank goodness I did, because it was mind blowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
I personally appreciated all the sitcom tropes. Like, I like TV sitcoms. Like, I watch them for fun. I've never seen an episode of Dick Van Dyke. I could still appreciate like all of the things that they were doing, like, and the way they did them. And if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, like, they did it all with like practicality, and like they strung stuff on wires. It was a really great, like, it was just it was really solid. I appreciated all the authenticity they went through.
Having watched all those shows that they showed myself, I mean, I'm a little young for Dick Van Dyke, but I did watch it in reruns. I was intrigued. I was intrigued enough, and I loved the character of Wanda enough that even though I was sort of the same way you were for a minute there, Joey, I was sort of like, what the heck is this? Even though I felt that, I stuck with it. And like you said, I'm so glad I did.
So they did Dick Van Dyke. Then they did do Brady Bunch? What was this? What was the 60s one?
No, they did I
Bewitched.
Dream of Jeannie.
Was it Bewitched?
Was it
No, I
Bewitched?
Dream of
Or
Jeannie.
was it
You're right.
Bewitched?
Oh, was it
The
I
one-
Dreamed?
the one where
Okay.
she wiggled her nose.
There was a Brady Bunch one also, or was that? Yeah, I think there was a Brady Bunch one.
There was a Brady Bunch was in there.
There
They
was-
did all of the sitcoms.
There was a Family Ties, and then there was Malcolm in the Middle, and I think that's where they stopped.
Well, and they did Modern Family too.
Yes, they did Modern Family. I remember. Yeah. And along the way, we learn that, what happened, that Wanda created her own reality and blocked off everything else. And you have Kat Dennings from the Thor movies. You have Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man
Who
teaming
learned
up.
card tricks from Scott Lang.
Yeah. It was a very, very, very happy about that. Yeah, and there was an organization that was trying to recreate Vision.
Sword.
And
Sword. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Sword.
Storm.
And so, as we got into more episodes, it's like, okay, what is going on here? And it just got crazy and very interesting.
And we
so
got
well.
Agatha all
Oh
along.
yeah, Agatha. Oh yeah.
Agatha.
By the way, yeah, there was
She was
the friend
awesome.
Agatha, who turns out it was Agatha all along, and she was just messing things up. And
Who's getting her own series?
she is getting
Is
her own
she?
series. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love her. I mean,
Agatha,
Catherine Hahn can do
House of
anything.
Harkness or something like that.
That was the
Yeah.
big. That was the big reveal. I think in the second to last or third to last episode, she said, "Yes, Scarlet Witch."
Well, and she killed the rabbit.
I forget about the rabbit. Oh yeah. And by the way, Wanda created her own children, and she got pregnant, created her own children, and they had
That
powers.
remains to be seen, but we'll get
We'll
to that.
see. We'll see. So
WandaVision was amazing.
this was a home run. This was
Oh,
was amazing.
Absolutely.
Out of the
I
park.
love WandaVision.
I
It was the
They
best
did.
thing they could have done for the introduction to the TV series, I think, because it started out kind of freaky and you weren't sure what to expect. But by the time you got to the end, pretty much everybody who likes Marvel stuff was hooked.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
remember, this was the intro. Yeah, this is the introduction of a TV series. This is the big, hey, you got to subscribe to Disney Plus to
Yeah.
get Marvel content. We're like, well, I guess I got to
And
subscribe to
Quicksilver.
Disney Plus now.
Yep. And
So it was
reeled
a-
us all in.
Reel this all in. It was a big selling point. So,
Yeah.
Home Run. I'm trying to think if it's my favorite TV series. I would have to say yes. Although there is
I would put it number 2 for me.
So yeah, Home Run. I
Oh
would
yeah,
say
but Home Run,
all three
great,
homes.
great
Okay.
series. Home Run.
So-
but number 2 for me.
Then right after that, in March of 2021, we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and
Another home run.
another home run. But here's the thing, and it's always been, and Marvel movies and stories have always been divided into different categories. Like there's the cosmic things, there's the magic things, there's the quote unquote street level thing, issues. So Wanda was all about magic and stuff. But Falcon and Winter Soldier was all quote unquote street level. And people, I've heard people say, why do you have Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Falcon, who are just people going against, witches and gods and all this stuff? Like, no human can withstand that. And the explanation I heard was, you need a point of reference. You need regular
relatable character,
relatable characters, things that we can relate to.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with Eternals, is I can't relate to a giant planet baby monster, but I can relate to
flying into the sun.
Right. But I can relate to, somebody taking a serum to become a strong soldier or something like that. So
especially if he feels like he's doing the right thing and protecting, and you can relate to these characters. That's I did feel the need for that series, especially because they give a real juxtaposition between who is Captain America and what does the shield mean, and then you watch US agent behead somebody with it, and that's just that knocked me on my butt. I was not ready for that, but that meant something. So
this show for me also dealt directly with the blip, which needed to happen after Endgame. That, to me, I think that was brilliant, and it dealt with the blip in a new genre with the TV show and some new characters whom they introduced, but it dealt with it with characters directly from Avengers, which I like, the perfect blend of tie up this story, bring this character in, but introduce this character. I thought it was brilliant also.
And they set themselves up so perfectly for so much else to expand.
Yeah.
Knowing where the comic books could possibly go, just they set themselves up perfectly for it.
It was because we're all wondering, and it's okay, we had the blip, we had, and then everybody came back. Now what? What would happen if everybody came back, and the actual consequences of that?
Yeah. Seriously. And you know what? It's funny. For me, now maybe it's just me because I'm clueless, but if this had stopped at Endgame and that was it, I really wouldn't have thought about the impact of something like millions, billions of people being gone for 3 years. And they turned it into a story that was 5 years. I'm sorry. They turned it into a story that, like you just said, Joe, it's relatable. What would really happen? I just thought that was.
I don't know if it was here or it was. I think it was definitely in Hawkeye, where there was writing on while there was graffiti that said Thanos was right, and I could see that. Could you imagine? Surviving the blip? You didn't get blipped. You're living your life. You learn to live. You learn whatever, and then all of a sudden, these people come back in and everything changes, and it probably changes for the worse for a lot of people. I would be mad as heck, and I would be angry. That could cause a lot of problems.
That's one of the best things about the scene in Endgame where Captain America's leading the support group, and he's just like, well, we don't give up. And he just can't bring himself to give up, but he's telling other people to move on. And that's just it's heartbreaking to watch, because he's the most man out of time of anybody. He's been gone 50 years. So he's supposed to be the one that's okay with moving on.
Seriously, he got super blipped.
Yeah, super blipped. Yeah.
And it speaks to your point, Pam, about what's right and wrong. And before when it was Captain America, Steve Rogers, we knew he was Captain America. He's good and he's fighting evil and blah, blah, blah. And now it's all complicated. And now we got a dude pretending to be Captain America who's actually, who knows what's going on. Now he's murdering somebody with the shield, which was an amazing visual.
That was crazy. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
that I gasped. I was stunned they did that.
Same. Oh yeah. Imagine blood all over it.
Imagine blood all over it. It's such a visual.
Yeah.
Andrew, was that a I'm assuming that was the comic book cover of like like blood on the shield.
Oh yeah,
if it wasn't, it should have been.
That's from a comic book cover. He doesn't actually
Sure.
decapitate somebody in that actual, like, what that's from. Like the scene of the shield, like with the blood on it, is not it's not him decapitating somebody, but there's references to it.
Yeah. And we're introduced to basically who knows what's going to happen with the Thunderbolts or whatever. We're introduced to Val. Well, yeah, we are
getting
introduced to
their
Val.
own movie.
They're getting their own movie, so we have the seeds of whatever is going to happen there. And basically, Sam, realizing, hey, I should be Captain America, and
Which I loved. That was
he
awesome.
does not.
I did love like his moments of just like coming in the full suit, and they did the suit so perfectly. Like comic book nerd in me was just like, yes.
I forget. Did Wakanda give him? Okay, so Wakanda made him a suit, but they didn't make it out of vibranium.
Yes, that's a full, like, all his wings and everything, full vibranium.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
So he's bulletproof, essentially.
I think it's very interesting that he did not take the serum. I think that's very, very interesting. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I believe there's going to be a Captain America. Yeah, there's going to be a Captain America because it's called New World Order.
Yes.
Or something like that.
And we are supposedly getting Red Hulk and the Leader.
Okay.
So
then we have yet another. Oh no, I'm sorry. Now, we have yet another TV show. This was in.
We had
they ran these back to back.
Yeah, they went boom boom. They really did.
Boom boom boom. June. So Falcon and Winter Soldier was March of 2021. Loki was June of 2021. Like right into it.
Yep.
Loki.
Let's go.
Wow.
I love Loki. Love.
Loki is my number one series.
This was mind blowing. Here's how you know how mind blowing it is, or how interesting it was. I remember, like after some of these series and some of these things were, the three of us are like, hey, let's talk about this. We were after certain episodes of WandaVision and certain episodes of Loki, we're like, we need to talk right now. We got to talk about what happened. Loki was mind blowing, and I think it's the most important series
given
thing
Ant-Man, yes,
that happens. I think Ant-Man is going to be extremely important, but for the whole setting up like phase 5 and 6,
many things came into play in Loki. So many
things. The whole point.
I'm just hoping we get Owen Wilson in the new Ant-Man.
Wow.
I can't wait to see them. Yeah.
Wow.
Jet ski.
We gotta give his jet ski. That has to be his
jet ski.
Has to be his scene. It set up the idea of the multiverse. It connected the multiverse to time travel. It talked about branching realities.
Jonathan Majors.
It introduced Kang, which is supposed to be the big bad of the whole thing. So it was huge. It was so entertaining. It was how many Loki variants. There was an alligator Loki, and I think there was a frog Loki, and President Loki, and Kid Loki. Yeah. What was that, Andrew?
It was Frog Thor.
Frog. Oh, was it Frog? That's right, Frog Thor. In that
it was Throg.
Yeah, that's
Frog.
Right.
God.
Tom Hiddleston is he's brilliant. He's a brilliant actor, and he's so perfect. I sometimes think that all of the movies and things that he's been in, there have been spots that without him, like, wouldn't work. Like, I know you guys aren't as into all the Thors as I am, but like without Loki, some of that stuff wouldn't have worked at all. So
if you ever get the chance, Pam, go back and YouTube Tom Hiddleston apply. He did audition tape for Thor.
What?
He was going to be Thor.
He auditioned to be Thor.
He auditioned to be Thor.
Oh my God.
okay.
That talk about that would not have worked. But
I mean, differences of universes there, but yeah,
there's no way on earth that could have worked.
Yeah,
so, I mean that's
Loki
one of
is
those things
number
where
one, first off.
I mean, remember, Loki was the big bad of the first Avengers movie, for goodness.
Yes, the big bad. Like
Big
He was
bad.
the big,
Yeah,
he tried the villain of the first Thor movie too. He's supposed to be a villain, and then they turned him into one of the most beloved characters.
Yeah. So wait, Andrew, is he that way in the comics too? That he turns into a beloved character? Because this has to be at least partially because of how charming Tom Hiddleston is. Has to be.
Oh, yeah. All right. So yes and no. So Loki has been everything throughout the course of the comics. He's been a villain. He's been an anti-hero. He's been a hero. He's been like he took over for Doctor Strange at one point.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's also like changed gender a bunch of times. He's been a woman like for entire arcs of the series. Loki goes all over the place, but Tom Hiddleston's appeal, yes, it weighed very, very heavily in the fact that they brought him back and gave him his own series. If it wasn't Tom Hiddleston, I don't think it would have happened.
I believe that.
Speaking of Sylvie, basically the girl version of him, and they do a bunch of shenanigans, and they end up finding Kang, and Kang wants them to take over the whole sacred timeline thing and just keep it one timeline, and they're like, screw that, and she kills him, which basically causes all hell to break loose. And we're going to have, so forget about one timeline. Now we're going to have a million timelines. And I think that's what we're going to get to in the the new Ant-Man movie. Is I think that's why they get to where they're going to get in the movie. Is they get sucked into the quantum realm, and there's that new Jonathan Majors Kang character. I think because Sylvie killed him, I think that's why. I think that's like what opens up everything. It sure seems like Ant-Man does something to help Kang or something, whether he wants to or not. It certainly seems that way. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
We'll get there. So much good stuff going on. Now we get to our first movie, and this is really weird because I think this Black Widow was not supposed to be released when it was. I'm guessing it was supposed to be released a lot earlier, but because of the pandemic, they had to move things around. So we get in July of 2021, Black Widow, and I remember at the time, I think none of us liked it.
I was so upset. I was like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!"
I was so mad that was the Black Widow movie that they gave you, and like I wanted it to be so much more, and it was just not. Also, Taskmaster,
such a disappointment. Such a disappointment. Oh my goodness.
And there was the controversy about how it was released, and it released just on Disney, and it wasn't in the theaters, and like that introduced all that. Wasn't that the one that it was only released on Disney, right? And then it was never in the theater, was it? Or did it?
No, I think it was in the theater, but it was also released on Disney. I think it was at the same time. And what happened was they screwed, I think, Scarlett Johansson out of like a lot of money, because at the time this movie was in development for years. It was in development for so long that Disney Plus didn't even exist yet. So they didn't work into the contract, hey, you get to make money off of Disney, off of Disney Plus, whatever, any revenue from that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So they screwed her out of a lot of money, and I think she sued or something like that. And
that's why we have so most movies that are released in theaters and then are going to get released to a streaming service now, they have about a 45-day grace period. So they stay in theaters exclusively for about 45 days.
Okay, and then they go
But
to the thing.
The need to establish that started though because of this movie, I think, right?
Yeah,
because of the way
just this one. It was
exactly why that rule exists.
There were okay. It was okay. So because there were other movies that did that, and they basically used the pandemic as an excuse of like, we'll put it in the theaters and nobody's gonna watch it, so we're gonna put it on TV at the same time. And
but Scarlett Johansson's salary was linked to the box office.
Right.
So
she got screwed out of a lot of money.
That's why there was that whole lawsuit thing.
And it was still at a bad time during the pandemic too. It wasn't. People weren't going to go. To
it was
movies.
just. It was just like I think they wanted to release it much earlier. And
it was also like at a time where they were trying to figure out how, like, we have these big box office movies and they're eventually going to get to streaming. How do we move that? Like, what does that timeline look like?
Right.
So,
and
they messed that up. They messed that up.
And the other thing is, this movie was in development so long that the streaming service Disney Plus didn't even exist yet. So they didn't work that into the contract. So basically, I mean, I hope they work that out. And I really hope Scarlett Johansson got her millions of dollars. I mean, nobody deserves to be screwed over like that. That's
and I like Scarlett Johansson, and I really, really hope she got paid. This movie was not a good movie, but
not because of her fault. It was just
it wasn't
bad writing.
No, and it wasn't. Who's her sister's character? Or
Yelena?
Yeah.
No, who's the actress?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
She's
really,
awesome.
really good.
She's awesome.
She's awesome in everything.
I love her. Yeah.
It also introduced Russian Daddy, Captain Russia, or whatever the heck his name was.
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. Okay.
Is that what he is? Red
Lord. Yes,
Sure.
That's what. Am I the only one that paid attention to the comics?
Yes, actually.
Yes.
But
you are.
it's like, okay,
Red
so
Guardian will be reappearing in Thunderbolts.
Yeah, okay, so he's one of the Thunderbolts. Cool. So then we have an animated series, which I don't think they've ever done before. I don't know if you could
done animated things that are not canon.
Into the Spider-Verse is not canon, I don't think.
Into the Spider-Verse is a Sony owned property.
So it's not canon. Okay.
It's pure Sony. So like never mind. I'm not going to get into it. But
the whole Spider-Man that's a whole other
thing. The new movie looks amazing, just saying.
Okay.
And, Pam, have you seen Into the Spider-Verse yet?
No.
If you have a couple hours, I highly recommend it. It's very good.
I know you guys tell me that every time.
But you know what? Actually, don't. They did it in Spider-Man No Way Home. Basically the same thing, but anyway, sort of the same thing. But anyway. Anyway, so what if basically says, okay, what if there were whole different versions of these heroes? What if instead of abducting Peter, they abducted Black Panther and he became T'Challa and he became Star-Lord? Or what if Captain America was actually what's her name? Agent Carter.
Petty,
and she became
Agent Carter,
yeah.
Peggy Carter.
Captain Britain or whatever the heck her name was. What if that happened or whatever? And they have to, but there was also a version of what if Ultron won, and if Ultron won, he would have taken over the world and the universe, and I think many other universes or something like that. So
and got all the Infinity Stones apparently.
Yeah, he got all the Infinity Stones. He wiped out everything, and
also Marvel Zombies is getting its own season.
That was my least favorite. Oh,
I love loved that one.
Oh, I hate it. Anyway, and
Alright.
so he the little baby dude gathers like his own team of Avengers to fight Ultron, and
The
they
Watcher?
win.
Did
The
you
Watch
refer
is
to
that
the
his?
Watcher as the little baby dude?
He's a little bald dude. He kind of looks like a baby. He looks like a man baby. That's
He
how
does
much
look like a man baby.
I was not a fan of What If. Okay, I was not a fan of that.
All right,
watched it.
get
I was
it.
not a fan.
I understand you're not a fan. His name is the Watcher. It's
Okay.
Yatu.
I mean, he's more powerful than me, but still. Okay. Then we get to a movie. This was released in September of 2021. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
one.
big thumbs
like that
up.
one. Yeah, I like that one.
Just really, really well done. Yeah, I mean, I just have nothing but good to say about this. This was just really well done.
Say thumbs up.
It was a great, you kind of understood why the villain did what they were, he had motivations. He wanted to see his wife and all that stuff. And
I walked into this entire movie just saying, Marvel, give me a good kung fu movie. And they gave me a great kung fu movie. I did not like the fact that they had to fight a dragon at the end for no reason. Like that was
cool.
There was good comedy.
All right, it did give what's her name? The friend character. The
so Aquafina.
Aquafina's
Yeah.
character. It gave her a reason, and she shot it through the throat.
There you go.
That was
There
good.
So
you
we'll
go.
see her. So you think we'll see her again? Somewhere.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe no.
We'll see. I don't know.
This
we'll see.
The only thing I don't like about Shang-Chi is that it almost had a sense of being sort of, okay, here's where we're going, and here's this over here. Like, I know there's things that tie in, but I don't know.
That was a lot of Phase 4 things. It's like standalone.
Yeah.
Like, they're not
This
really
one felt
connected.
more so to me. Maybe not now that Phase 4 is complete. Like you see more of, okay, that's
But
where
still,
this was.
I didn't feel like
at that point,
I didn't feel like it tied into much other than
No.
the fact that they have that conversation at the end about the rings and like what they're made of.
Yeah,
What
and
happens
at
with
the
them
end,
and-
it was Bruce Banner and
It
Wong
was
and Captain
Wong.
Marvel.
It was Captain Marvel. Yeah, Bruce Banner.
They all get together and say, "Hey, you did. When you use those rings, something happened."
Well, it's not vibranium. It's not.
Yeah.
Honestly, this could be how they introduce adamantium for the first time.
Sure.
You guys
We'll
have
see.
no idea what I'm talking about, do
Oh
you?
no, adamantium
No.
is the comic book version of vibranium, right? It's what Wolverine has.
Well,
Right?
vibranium exists in the comics.
Okay.
So adamantium is what Wolverine's
Adamant.
claws are made out of.
How is it different?
It's unbreakable as
Sounds like
opposed to
vibranium.
like regenerate, like the Captain America's shield can bounce things off, and it's technically unbreakable, but it's like shattered in the fight we see with Thanos. Adamantium is unbreakable.
I thought they didn't use adamantium in MCU because of X-Men. I mean, that was a whole other property.
They didn't, but that might be
Okay.
how we introduce adamantium.
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean,
So.
Bleep's about to get real, so we'll see. Then in November of 2021, we have another movie, Eternals.
Can we skip this one, please?
Can we?
Yeah, I
can-
know. Seriously.
It just you know what? Now that we've had some time to look over it, it just ticks me off even more. It's just annoying. It's just so poorly
It
done.
doesn't need to exist, and I wish it didn't.
And that almost the only good thing about it didn't it have two good end credit scenes? Weren't there
Yeah,
interesting things
the
brought
one
up at the end?
the one end
Oh,
credit
Harry
scene was
Styles shows up.
Harry Styles shows up, and he's the lover dude, which they're gonna have to retcon and figure out how to not make him such a lover dude. And
Oh no, how to make him not
Something
like
with Kit
almost rape
Harington.
people.
what was that, Pam?
It was, and something with Kit Harington, right?
Kit Harington, yeah. Kit Harington has a blade, and and actually Blade shows up, and he's and so we'll see what happens with that.
He has a blade, and then Blade shows up, and then Blade and Blade and Blade.
Yeah, and then Blade blades, and we all blade, and then we blade.
We all does the blade.
So not only is the whole premise stupid, because they're like, well, we have to keep humans keep going, and oh, by the way, there's Thanos, and we're just gonna let him wipe out half the universe. Okay, cool, we won't stop him. But even it's even gotten worse, because the big scene of the movie was the giant planet baby that's inside of Earth
reaching his hand out of the ocean,
and which is causing all kinds of chaos. They don't mention it again for
ever.
Was it one little tiny thing in She-Hulk? One little, like, she's looking at the web, and there's like one little tiny article that says, "Hey, by the way, there's a giant hand in the Indian Ocean." That's it. That's it. You have a giant planet baby that's about to take over the world, and now it's turned to stone, and we're not talking about it.
It's dead.
But it doesn't matter. You know what? The Chitauri are dead too, but we still hear about the Chitauri and the Battle of New York on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But this thing happened, and it's just poof, it's gone.
Yeah. So then we go to another TV series. This was a nice Christmas around Christmas of 2021. This is actually released in November 21st, 2021. Hawkeye.
I say yay.
I really liked Hawkeye.
I enjoyed it, not as much as the other, not as much as WandaVision or Loki or Falcon and Winter Soldier, but still, it was nice. I would give it a somewhat of a thumbs up.
The characters were great. It had great characters. I like the characters.
Okay, now keep in mind, Hawkeye was my #1 most hated character.
I do remember that.
Who's useless as heck. And you know what?
Bow and arrow.
Right. That's
I still don't know why you hated him so much.
Because he's basically useless.
He didn't have a gun like
shot
Black
Loki
Widow.
in the eye almost.
Okay, but ding, I mean,
almost.
that's it. Yeah. And hey, he even admitted, I think in Age of Ultron or something like, hey, all these guys are doing something. I just got my bow and arrow, man.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the best I can. So it's like, okay, you recognize that you suck. Okay, cool.
The island is falling. We're fighting a bunch of robots. I have a bow and arrow. This makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this series was really well done. Explains his motivations, and remember at the end of Black Widow, Val shows up and goes to Yelena and says, hey, by the way, you got to kill Hawkeye because he killed your sister. So they resolved that, which was really cool,
which I liked. Yeah, that was good.
And
what?
Hawkeye's wife.
What was Hawkeye's wife?
Agent 13.
She's an agent, right?
Okay, she's an agent. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the whole thing with the watch?
Yes.
Okay. The whole thing with the watch.
Right.
What's that?
If you remember when they first walk into Hawkeye's like house in Age of Ultron, like she doesn't. Iron Man or Tony Stark doesn't believe that she's like just a housewife.
Just a wife.
He's like, she's an agent. He was right.
He said so many things like in Avengers when he walks in and says that dude's playing Galaga, and actually they're playing like basically the whole Chitauri thing was a real life Galaga, basically aliens falling out of the sky. We get introduced to Kate Bishop, and looks like she's going to be the new Hawkeye, which is really cool. Please, more Kate Bishop and Yelena teaming up.
Yeah,
I love them together.
And making mac and cheese.
Yes, and making mac and cheese.
I just want more mac and cheese.
Okay, so we're also introduced to
Echo.
I forget her name. Echo, the deaf assassin.
She's getting her own series.
She's getting her own series.
I'm not thrilled about that one.
Okay, so we had Kingpin, but we didn't have Daredevil in this one, correct?
No, yes. Wait.
No Daredevil though.
I don't think Daredevil was in it.
Daredevil in this one. Yeah.
Not in this one, but we did have Kingpin.
We had who's his name? Why can't I remember that actor's name?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio showing back up as Kingpin. Yes.
Yeah. That's a whole.
Which again, Pam.
You know
Daredevil
what? But aren't they bringing back Daredevil or something like that? Isn't the whole Netflix thing not canon? Still a great series. Daredevil, great series.
No, it's supposed to be canon.
Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. I mean, you'd think so. He looked. It's the same actor, same dude wearing the same stuff. So I would imagine
it's supposed to be post blip, and they were both blipped, and they have no idea what they're doing.
Ooh, interesting.
Is what I've heard. Again, hands up. I don't know that. I don't know that for real, but
the story of Daredevil is just really good, and you would think, who gives a crap that he's blind? Who gives a crap that? Okay, so it's a blind dude that fights. Like, no, it's actually a really interesting story. And Kingpin is Kingpin is basically every evil dude that's running around now. So that's Hawkeye. Okay, and then where are we? Of course, I can't find it now. There was another movie.
It's got to be Spider-Man, right?
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah, No Way Home.
Another movie that was released in. Oh, this was released in December of 2021. Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite movie of this of this phase. I remember I saw it 2 or 3 times in the theater. My wife and daughter who are barely, they only know of Star Wars and MCU because I'm addicted to it, but they wanted to see Spider-Man No Way Home. The bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
That was amazing.
All the
was
feels
amazing.
was so well done.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That was so good. That movie is so good.
And the villains, Green
Yes.
Goblin and
Oh my
Sandman.
God.
Exactly.
And just
Doc
that
Ock.
end
I
scene
love
with
Doc
Green
Ock.
Goblin.
Yeah.
Power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Yeah. Everything about this movie was amazing.
Where he almost kills him. Like he's about to slam that thing on him, and it's just
yeah,
that just
it was
broke my
a good
heart.
one.
So well done.
But the end of it is terrible. I'm still pissed off that I can't stand that nobody knows Peter. I can't.
I'm not.
I told you guys that before.
I'm not. I agree.
It gets him back to street level Spider-Man. He doesn't have any of the toys. He doesn't have any of the Tony Stark stuff. He's just designing his own web shooters, and he's just swinging around, and he's just stopping bad guys.
My daughter said it best, because she likes Spider-Man, and she saw the other Spider-Man movies, and she said, so basically Spider-Man was Iron Man. Yeah. Basically, Spider-Man was Iron Man with a fewer features, but other than that, he basically was Iron Man, and he got totally reset to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we grew up with and that we know. So
yes.
I hate that for him, but I do think it's very interesting and cool that they reset the whole character, and now we got it's almost. I mean, we've seen. You can't shake a stick at either a Batman movie or a Spider-Man movie in the last 20 years. There's been about 32 of each of them, and they took that whole character and made it new and fresh.
They didn't need to make it new and fresh. My thing is the reason Spider-Man's always been my guy is Spider-Man's always been relatable. He's always had to take care of his grandma. He's always had rent to pay. He's always had a job to work. He's always had real world problems. And that is why Spider-Man has always like resonated with me, is because I have those same things to deal with. So
yeah. And then
that was the end of my conversation.
no, they
I'll let it go.
they
I'll just let it go.
I mean that, but hey, that's what they decided. They decided to reset the whole character, and we'll see what happens from there. It really stinks that the entire universe doesn't know
Couldn't they
about
let
Peter Parker.
Mary
But they're
Jane
gonna
and
learn
Ned know him?
how big a hero he is, and he's gonna grow as a hero again.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
fun
just
to
it's like
watch.
he's starting all over.
But that's fun to watch again.
Yeah. But I also loved that they brought back Tobey Maguire. They brought back Andrew Garfield, especially Andrew Garfield getting the closure of saving MJ. I forget what Tobey Maguire's closure was. He got to look like a youth pastor. That was cool.
Now Andrew Garfield coming back, like especially him catching MJ at the end, and just the way he looked at her, like I was in tears. I don't know if the rest of you, but like, I was watching that in theaters.
I cried a lot.
Crying.
I cried a lot.
When
they were all talking and they were like, "Oh, what was your feelings and stuff?" And the one says, "I was in the Avengers." Like, "Oh, what are the Avengers? Is that a rock group? Wow,
Yeah,
are you in a band? Cool."
that was funny. And I like when they're going, like, "Are you one? Like, am I Spider-Man? You're two? Like, what?"
They're pointing at each other. They did the thing. They did that.
This
There were
act-
so many. There were so many times.
I really love the part where like Andrew Garfield's character is like, "Can I crack your back?" He's just like doing a thing for him. And he just like cracks his back.
They did all the things. Everyone did all the things that we wanted. Like when Osborn said, "I'm somewhat of a scientist myself." I'm like, yes, he did
know. And every nerd part of me erupted.
Yeah, that was good and satisfying for nerds everywhere. I agree. Yeah,
I did not know. I tried to keep away from spoilers, and when Tobey Maguire shows up when I saw it in the theater, I screamed. And then no, it was Andrew Garfield that showed up first. I think
so. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield shows up first. Yes.
Yeah, I screamed, and then when Tobey Maguire showed up, I screamed again. So good. So yeah, my favorite movie. Then we go to one of my least favorite things.
Then it goes downhill.
It goes downhill.
Down the roller coaster, up and down.
March of 2022, Moon Knight. Not a fan. Pam, did you see it?
I watched 2 episodes.
Okay.
And then
That's
didn't watch anymore.
I know you liked it, Andrew. I was not a fan. We'll leave it at that. Agree to disagree.
All right. Gonna put on this podcast. Love Moon Knight.
Okay.
Oscar
Isaac is amazing.
He's such a great actor. I do love him.
He's really good. And I'm interested to see where the character goes from here. Wait, where is the character going anywhere from here? Is Moon Knight still Moon Knight, or is it just did it end up being that cab driver dude?
He has like 3 personalities or
4 actually, or 3 or 4.
I missed one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's her name, Scarlet Scarab or whatever that she looked cool.
No, you're not.
Alrighty.
We'll see if we see them again. So, but that ties into. What world did that tie into? That was like gods, whatever gods are.
It's hopefully going to tie into Midnight Suns.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
I don't know what that is.
It's a bunch of characters from like the darker end of the Marvel universe that fight like bad things, like vampires and werewolves and stuff.
Okay.
Then we go to another movie in May of 2022, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And honestly, I was a little disappointed in this.
Okay. This was probably of all of these things, even more than Moon Knight, I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is my least favorite of everything. of
Okay.
everything.
Why did you hate it so much?
Nothing made sense. I hate that Wanda ends up being a villain. I don't like the way I didn't like the way it went. Like the whole zombie thing with Doctor Strange. Like, what the heck? It didn't know what it wanted to be. The movie didn't know what it wanted to be.
It was a horror movie disguised as an MCU movie.
Yeah, it was just weird.
Not what I expect. When I hear multiverse and I hear, I try to avoid spoilers, but I hear there's going to be cameo appearances, and then the ones we got were kind of cool, but not what I expected.
Not really.
I did not expect it to be a horror movie where basically the slasher tries to kill the good guys throughout the whole movie. That's basically what it was.
And that girl, who cares? We knew nothing about her. She just shows up, and now it's like, do we care about her now? Like, America
Chavez or something like
whatever.
America Chavez.
Yeah. And
she was just sort of like, okay, who are you?
That's a heck of a way to introduce a new character. That's okay. Andrew, what did you think?
Tell us why you liked
it. I loved it. But
tell us. You're allowed.
It gave me all of the characters that I wanted, especially in that alternate reality. Wanda's not dead, and I don't think it was that dark, but you have Sam Raimi directing this film, so you gotta expect some
Is he a horror movie guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta expect some jump scares and a little bit of splash stuff, but
why?
Yeah,
why did they feel that was necessary?
Well, I guess it's like,
not?
well, if you get Sam Raimi, then you're getting a horror movie. Okay, fine, but then I question their choice to make it a horror movie. Yeah. They could have gone a different.
He didn't make it a horror movie though.
Kind of did. No. you have this unstoppable bad guy who is just trying to.
But she's not a villain.
Oh, she was a villain in this one. She turned evil.
She was trying to find her kids.
Wanda
she was corrupted by that evil book or whatever.
Darkhold.
Yeah, sure.
I've repressed it, so whatever you say, Andrew.
but the whole thing was, but it introduced it furthered the whole. This was a very important one because it furthered the whole multiverse thing, and there's different versions of you. There's there was a different versions of,
because of the end credit scene.
Which one? Yeah, I don't remember which one this one was.
Where Charlize Theron shows up and she says,
and she's like, you caused convergence,
incursion, and he develops a third eye. Yeah. So
to me, that was like, okay, why?
Well, it sets up. It's going to set up.
That's going to be the entirety of the next. Series of movies.
It's unfortunately we're gonna get a whole bunch of incursion stuff in multiverse. We'll see. It's pretty confusing, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure they'll do it lovely. But you also had the Illuminati, and that was where I swear I thought Tom Cruise Iron Man was gonna be in it. So actually I'm a little happy that didn't.
So who was supposed to be? There was supposed to be another Mr. Fantastic, and I forget who it was.
Oh, really? I mean,
there was supposed to be another one. I can't remember who it was.
Everybody wanted John Krasinski to be Reed Richards, and they got it. So cool. Okay. We got Patrick Stewart back as Professor Xavier
in the yellow chair.
In the yellow, basically 90s X-Men Dr. Xavier. Yes.
That fueled so much nerddom. Like I was just like, I'm good for the rest of the year.
I lived on the 90s X-Men cartoon and the 90s X-Men video game. I lived on that thing. That thing got me through the 90s. So then we have another TV show in June of 2022, Ms. Marvel.
I did not watch that one.
I saw 1 or 2 episodes and then that was it. I get it.
It's really solid when it's in New Jersey, and it's not so much fun when they like try to go to India and like do some other stuff.
Just learned today she did time travel.
Bad.
She did time travel and saved her grandma. I don't know how she pulled out the time travel thing, but
there's a whole other dimension that they tap into. It's so my biggest thing is they make her not a inhuman, which is what she's supposed to be.
They made her a mutant.
No.
Yeah.
That's what it said in that thingy that we watched.
No, they did, because at the end they said they had the 90s. They teased the 90s X-Men theme.
It says it in that thing you told us to watch.
She's a mutant. Yeah, she's a mutant.
I don't agree that she's a mutant.
Okay. Well, I think she is.
I know nothing. So I know nothing, John.
Basically it introduces a new hero. Is she kind of like Captain Marvel? Is she or are they just going to team up?
In the series, she just has energy powers.
Okay.
Like she can just produce energy like punches, essentially. Like that's it.
One thing that I liked was it introduced in that world what people think of the Avengers and stuff. You know, they have Avenger conventions and stuff like that, and they dress up like the Avengers. And I mean, so do we, but they're, you know, to us they're comic book characters and movie characters. To them, they were like, you know, real life heroes. So that was cute. You know, like the whole thing through a teenage girl perspective. That was cool. Then we go to a movie in July of 2022, Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi was the director. It had She-Hulk. Wait, who did it have? It had Jane Foster. It had Lady Thor. Jane. And it was good. It was okay.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I liked it.
I thought it was solid.
Yeah, it was solid. It was, you know.
My favorite part was one of the end scenes. I'm not gonna lie. For us Ted Lasso fans, was my favorite part.
Oh, Hercules. I just saw that again. I'm like, oh yeah, who did they make her? Oh yeah, Ted Lasso. Not Ted Lasso, but the guy from Ted Lasso.
Roy Kent.
Which is funny, because on Ted Lasso he's just a big grump, and here he is, you know, the strongest man in the universe or whatever. So
nothing else in the world made me happier than
okay.
I love that character.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was you know, the whole Lady Thor thing, that was cool, but then it was, we'll see if she comes back. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, but
I like that they gave the possibility for her, like, given her depressing storyline, to still be around. So I did like that. Yeah.
The whole I Am Groot thing, I didn't even see that. I don't even know what that is.
No, I didn't either. The end here, we have a couple that I'm like,
they're
what?
passable. They're like, just if you want to like add something, they're good, but they're not good otherwise.
Then we have another TV show in August of 2022, She-Hulk Attorney at Law. This was extremely interesting. And I mean, I didn't know much from the comics. It sounds like it was pretty faithful to the comics in that she breaks the fourth wall. She's talking to us more than she's talking to the characters. It's a very interesting, you know, idea. It's like, well, what are the real life consequences of the blip and these superheroes doing things and stuff like that? So that's interesting, and
I liked her. I liked it. I didn't get to finish it. I still have not finished that series, but not because I didn't like it, just because I
okay.
just didn't get a chance.
Definitely
We
finished
won't
it.
we won't spoil it, but
But
the
you
ending
did already, and that's fine. Go ahead. Spoil
okay,
away.
the ending is mind-blowing. And not in a I don't want to say in a good way. It was just weird. It was just weird and different, and like, what the heck are we doing here? Kind of thing. Like,
Pam, you will like the end of the series.
I have to watch it, and I will, because I do like it. I liked her. She was appealing, and I liked that she got the dude from the Hulk movie, the first
Abomination.
Hulk movie. Yeah, him. I couldn't think of his name.
Oh,
I thought that was cool. He's a good actor. I can't think of his
okay.
name. Yeah.
Also in this, she has a love interest, Daredevil.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't get that far.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop.
What? All
Don't
I'm
spoil
saying
it.
is, all I'm
That's okay.
saying
It's
is,
my fault. I didn't watch it.
Daredevil does the walk of shame. He's holding his shoes. People were offended by that. I thought that was funny as heck.
Good. See, that makes
You
me want to
go,
watch it more.
She-Hulk. You go, She-Hulk. You
No, yeah.
go.
Go She-Hulk. But
I thought it was
things.
very come on. I thought it was very interesting that one of the quote unquote villains was basically horrible dudes on the internet. That's interesting that they tackled that.
Good for
Not
them.
that's going to change anything, but I'm glad that they at least tackled it.
Yeah. I like that. She's an appealing character.
Yeah. Then there was Werewolf by Night, okay,
Which I've never heard of. Okay, never heard.
I vaguely heard of it.
It's good.
Not watching it.
It is really, really good. I had no idea who that was. It's really, really good.
Okay, I'm still not gonna watch
Is it animated? Is this one animated?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's in black and white though, isn't it?
It's in black and white.
Oh, okay. I didn't even hear, like, totally missed it. Didn't hear about it at all. So.
And then we conclude with, well, we don't conclude. The second last thing is a movie, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
It was so good.
It was so good. It had to handle the problem or the issue of how do you handle the death of a character and how do you handle the death of an actor, and they handled it perfectly. They were basically, the entire movie was how to handle grief and how to handle the death of a loved one, and they handled it perfectly, and they did it both. They everything you thought about Black Panther is also what you thought about Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
it was
well
perfect.
So well done.
Occasionally I hear that Rihanna song, Lift Me Up, on the radio, and I start crying. It's just so well done.
I cried a lot watching that
same thing.
Yeah. I'm still not a fan of Namor.
Yeah, me either.
Namor.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He's
we'll
okay.
See. He's okay. I'm just.
They put wings on his feet, and you still liked him.
Did I?
I didn't see the point of him. I get it, but I don't care. I want to. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pam. What were you?
No, I just, that whole thing could have not happened, and I still would have loved the movie because of the Wakanda and Black Panther content that had nothing to do with that. I mean, granted, that's the story, but
it introduced Riri, who is going to be Ironheart, which is, I guess, the next Iron Man kind of thing. So that's going to be interesting. It introduced young Black Panther. We're going to eventually see a little kid Black Panther Jr. basically. So
you cried, didn't you?
Oh God, I cried a bunch during this movie. I cried a bunch.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special,
which I loved.
I think they were directly going for Star Wars Holiday Special, which is adorable. And not just that, I guess that was another like cheesy holiday specials.
All right, I gotta give James Gunn like so much credit. for calling out the fact that he called it the holiday special, and knows that the Star Wars holiday special is absolute trash.
Yeah.
It's like he said, I'm going to fix this, and I'm going
Right.
to do this better this time.
Yeah.
I got this.
Basically, basically every holiday special has to have a special guest star that just happens to pop in, and that's what they did here. Kevin Bacon, sure, let's pull him in from Earth.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then, but also adding a key story thing that could end up being really key. I was blown away by that. I think I asked you guys, like, is that real? Like, is that gonna really be the case later on, that, you know, Mantis and Star-Lord are siblings? Like, how cool is that?
Very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
why is Groot so jacked in this?
What else are you gonna do? What else?
He's Vin Diesel. What more do you need?
What are you gonna do? You know, what
Diesel.
What do you? What else are you gonna do? But, like, you know, work on your, you know, it's always chest day when you're
Yeah.
I got to go back and watch it just to listen to the songs. I think the songs were very interesting and original.
I loved it.
It was cute. It was very well done.
I do like the something Christmas. Yeah.
It was cute.
I liked it.
So yeah, we'll see. I wonder, I mean, we're hardcore fans and we're always going to watch this stuff, but, you know, I wonder if MCU is losing its appeal, because, you know, casual fans are going to say, okay, I know Hulk, I know Incredible Hulk, I know Iron Man, I know Thor, I know Captain America, but are they going to know Ms. Marvel and Shang-Chi? You know, they're building this thing. They're building, you know, this, like we said, it's the first phase of the next bunch of phases, but are people going to like this as much?
My question is, who knew who Iron Man was?
Everybody.
Iron Man
was since I was little.
Yeah,
no,
we grew up with Iron Man.
No.
What?
Back in the beginning, nobody knew who Iron Man was.
Okay. I so your point is they make these characters and we'll see where we go with them. And that's, you know what, that's the thing. I've trusted them. There's a whole bunch
Jon Favreau.
What?
What about him?
What's Jon Favreau doing?
Mandalorian right now.
He's doing, I was going to say he's in Star Wars now.
But what about him?
Directed the first Iron Man.
Right.
That started his career.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, is you don't know, you don't exactly know where these characters are going, but maybe follow them.
I trust them. I trust the process. There are many characters in these last 20 some movies or whatever that's going that I didn't know that they introduced to me, and now I know them and like them. So okay, fine, I will trust them. My question is everybody, like, are casual fans still going to stick around for all this?
I think that if they've been brilliant about it, I think if they carefully weave in people we know and characters we care about, it'll make it more palatable for somebody who's a more casual fan. I mean, I think that's important I think that's important for Star Wars. It's important for any big saga series like this. As long as there's things that you know that can be the, you know, the roots of everything, I think people will stick around. I mean, and I'm huge, you know, obviously Marvel dork. I love all this stuff. I love all of it. But there have been times that I haven't known characters too. So them grounding those other characters in characters we know has kept people in.
Pam, you're spot on.
Yeah, we you know.
So
yeah, we trust the process.
No, I'm not even saying trust the process. I'm just saying trust, like, the characters that you know. So you have, like, you argued about Spider-Man being grounded. Now we have a grounded Spider-Man. He can just go carry characters.
so I think if phase 4 was not the greatest thing, or just the phase that's used to set up other things, I think the question is, what is it going to set up? And it sounds like what it's going to set up is Kang is a big bad, and we're going to have universes fight each other. When we have universes fight each other, we're going to have I think all heck is going to break loose. I think we're going to have like X-Men, and who knows what's going to happen. All kinds of
They
goofy
could bring
characters.
anything in. Yeah.
They could do anything. You could
Yeah.
have, multiple Hawkeyes fighting each other or something like that. You could have multiple, bring back all the Spider-Mans and stuff like that. You could have, you could have just, it could be crazy, and we'll see. I think it's going to get crazy, but the whole idea of multiverse, and that's where you're going to go, gets a little bit confusing, but we'll see.
But at the beginning of this, and as we're going through, you're like, what's this? You guys hinted at this, but by the time you watch the end and you look back on everything there is, it's like, okay,
now I get it. Yeah,
this was woven together pretty well. So bring on the next thing. So
bring it on.
I'm good.
All right, guys, this was fun.
Oh, it's been too long. It's been way too long.
It's
We're gonna
been
have to
too
talk
long.
about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah.
Andrew, do you want to try it again? Do you want to try it?
What is that? I'm trying to see.
It's do you want to try Joe and Andrew in the morning?
Oh, is that you guys on
Oh.
there?
No. Do you watch here, I'm gonna shut this off. Okay, wait, bye. Well, wait.
Bye.
Wait. Stop recording.